How's it going, Jets fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Moran. And today we want to take a look at 10 impact plays that the Jets saw against this Baltimore Ravens team in week one. Now, of course, not the desired result that we all hope for. Definitely some things that we need to fix over the next couple of days here in preparation for week two. But, we saw a lot of what the weaknesses are, and most of them are offensive. I thought the defense looked pretty solid. I thought the only way that Baltimore really took advantage of the Jets defense was by using the deep ball. That was it. It was Devin Duvernay on the deep ball and Rashad Bateman on the deep ball, and it was just trying to find ways. They really did a good job limiting and mitigating Mark Andrews. And that's a good thing, right? You saw, and we spoke about this beforehand. We said, why not just put Sauce Gardner on Mark Andrews and let a cornerback with a lengthy wingspan shut him down? And they went out and did just that. So it was nice to see that they, took that. At least we were kind of on par with what their strategy was to shut him down. But I will say this is that, LaMarcus Joyner, good God, he needs to be benched probably moving forward. I mean, they signed Will Parks today. He was bad, like just straight up mistake after mistake in deep coverage. When you have a guy running a deep post or going that far downfield, you don't just let them go. You follow them. You have to trail them down there. You can't just okay, someone's going to pick up. You're the last man back there, LaMarcus. You've been in the league for ages now. You're the last man. Why are you stopping? Why are you not running with the guy that's running directly past you? Maybe it's your old knees. I don't know. We'll find out. But, Will Parks definitely signing is an indication that they wanted more support there. And they want to see if maybe somebody can compete for that free safety spot, because obviously he did not look good. And Lamar Jackson just waited back there until, he could throw the ball deep. And then Marcus Joyner was just running for his life. So we're going to take a look at 10 impact plays. But Ryan, before we dive into it, how are you doing tonight, my friend? And, I know you have some stats you want to rattle off here.
I'm doing well, Alex. I mean, I think most Jet fans, are frustrated, and rightfully so. I mean, this was a game you hope that the Jets were competitive into the fourth quarter, and the first half was fairly competitive. I think the Jets, especially the defense, really did everything it could. Had the game at 10-3. You look at the Jets in this game, and I really just think they beat themselves as much as anything. I mean, it was special teams miscues that took the life out of this team. I mean, the Jets offense obviously executed very poorly, but the starting field position was, no better for them in this game. And they really started, pinned back more times than not, and really couldn't finish drives that they sustained and started. I think you look at the third down efficiency, which was something we discussed. I mean, the Ravens won this battle, and the Jets were 2 of 14 and did not convert until the fourth quarter. So not a recipe for success in any way. The Jets committed obviously 6 penalties for 81 yards. The Joyner one obviously was the headliner. And I think you look at that play, you look at the Braden Manwith punt. I mean, those were just a couple of the plays that really just took the life out of the Jets in this game. Greg Zuerlein's missed field goal definitely didn't help. His extra point obviously late, even though it was out of hand. And, the Jets lost the turnover battle 2-1 as well. So they really beat themselves. They didn't do very much to, help themselves in this game. And I think you did see, though, early, this team has much better talent. That's very obvious. Now, I think the game plan offensively, which is something we'll get over here when we go over these 10 plays. And, just going over the tape this morning, it was finally put out. I mean, I think it was for the most part a lot of what, people probably expected. But there were some, unique things that I did see, going over it this morning. And, we're going to go over some of those key, points really here today.
Absolutely. Well, one thing that we did notice was that the run game, the run defense specifically, was very, very good. At least it was much improved compared to last year. But let's jump into some film here and take a look at 10 impact players that really, gave us some optimism moving forward.
Absolutely. So here we're just starting out with the Jets run defense. This is early on in the ball game. You're seeing Jordan Whitehead come down and really set that edge here and keep the run inside. You see CJ Mosley in pursuit. Jacob Martin does a good job holding his ground. And then Quan Alexander with the speed. You could show it from the end zone copy even. Whitehead does a really good job, number 3 here, of setting that edge, keeping it inside. And you see Quan Alexander in pursuit there, finishing, in space. I mean, the Jets run defense definitely showed up in this game, even though it was a big concern, for me and for most Jet fans. They did a good job in this one and had a good game plan.
Yeah, and what I like about what Jordan Whitehead did here is that he forces the running back to go back inside, which is always what you want to do. If you're a defensive back, you don't want to let them get to the boundary, because the second that the running back gets there, it makes it a lot easier to turn up upfield, and there's less tacklers at the end of the day. So he does a really good job beating his assignment with his speed, and then he just forces that running back right back inside. Bam, he sets that edge. bam, you got CJ Mosley to clean up house, and these guys aren't Quan Alexander. These guys aren't missing tackles, and they collapse the ball very fast. This is definitely a Robert Saleh defense. They're aggressive, they're fast, they're quick, and they want to get to the football. And you see that on display right here. So that was a very well done and a good indication their run defense is getting better.
For sure. I mean, Quinnen Williams here, he's getting doubled off the snap by 71 and 72, and fits his gap perfectly, and even disengages late to help. They have a couple of guys here on the stop, but I think it's pretty well documented. Quinnen was the star of this game. The PFF grade, I think, is what takes it home for most people when you see, I think he had like a 91 or something, and it showed up in this game. This was something we talked about this summer. It didn't just have to show up in terms of sacks, but impact plays, stalling drives, which we're going to see. Quinnen, generated pressure in this game with some good power. He had the one pass breakup after Flacco threw the first interception, and the Ravens started in the red zone. And his run defense, as you see here, just the strength that he has. And, Quinnen did a really good job in this game. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, what's crazy? Look how many bodies move. Look how many Jets defenders move. They respect Lamar Jackson so much. Watch how many players move the second. So watch this right here. Look how many defenders move towards Lamar Jackson. Probably four. Four of them. Look at all the defense start flying with him, and then bam. Luckily, you have no idea how good of a play this is by Quinnen Williams until you realize that half the defense bought the Lamar Jackson option there, which is pretty impressive from Quinnen to fight through a double team. What I also like about it is look at his positioning, right? He's not trying to get through them. He's waiting. Look at his head. He's right between those two guys. He's looking past them, which is really, really nice. He's looking past them. Look at his eyes. He's peeking through there, and then bam, at the right moment, disengages, gets an arm on the running back, and that's really nice there. It might be Mike Davis. So that's a really nice play from Quinnen Williams. As you said, he definitely was the star of this game in terms of on the defensive side, and set the stage for what hopes to be a very, very good 2022 season.
100%. This play again, Quinnen shows up, but I also wanted to highlight here. Sauce was lined up with Mark Andrews in the slot, and was competitive in this game. The play where he's in cover 3 and they throw it to the goal line, he sticks his arm up to get the pass deflection. Is pretty well documented. But you see here just some of his quickness. I think you saw Sauce stay poised. Going up against Andrews, and you see Quinnen going up against the highly touted prospect, first round center Tyler Linderbaum there, and he generates a ton of pressure. Kind of forces Lamar to get rid of this. And overall, the Jets defense to start this game, really, did what they could, and just ultimately didn't, get enough help as, things progressed with the offense and special teams. But, Sauce, Quinnen Williams, the stars of this Jets defense, definitely made their impact in this one.
Yeah, you're right. Quinnen has another really good rep here. Look how far back he drives this center. He's running him right into the lap of Lamar Jackson. Also, a really nice stunt by CJ Mosley there as well. Really nicely executed. He gets around the edge. If Lamar doesn't throw that, that's probably a sack. It's a really good throw by Lamar, even though it ends up being incomplete, but he's off his back foot. It's not really that great of a throw. He just, the fact that he got it off in general is kind of impressive. Just like throws it off one foot's sidearm right past CJ Mosley, so he can't bat it down. But yeah, this Jets defensive line puts some good pressure on him. I was impressed to see how aggressive and fast they were all together.
So this play here, more from an X's and O's standpoint, I was surprised the Jets, considering how bad the pass blocking was, and that Joe Flacco's mental clock was really sped up. I think it was pretty obvious, and we'll see that in a couple of the, missed opportunities as we go on here. But to see the play action, keeping him in the pocket with the deep drop and, going with the max protection here. I want to say the Jets had 8 guys here. They had the 2-man route combination there with the switch concept at the line with Elijah Moore and Lawrence Cager, and Tyler Conklin, later on in the play goes out, on the shallow cross there. But I was surprised they really didn't try and go back to this more. Knowing how much 13 personnel they did, they were heavy with the 3 tight ends to start the game. And I think this could have been the best way to really get Joe Flacco in a groove, with just these keeping him in the pocket. You don't want to do the play action boots and getting him on the move, but these deeper drops with max protection, letting Elijah Moore work his way through the zone coverage. I'm surprised the Jets didn't really go back to this more in this game.
Yeah, I really like how you see how everyone bites on it too. Like, you're kind of right in the sense that if they use this a little bit more, they might have been able to catch Baltimore off a little bit more, because look how many the linebackers specifically get swallowed up into this play action, and they're done. Like, they're dead to rights. They have them dead to rights. And Elijah Moore just sits down in that space there, easy reception. The linebackers are just running back, trying to figure out, okay, we just bit hard on that. So it was that was a good job. Only 2 receivers out there really running routes, but they have to respect Elijah Moore's speed and his route running on the back end. So they're forced to play deeper, and just sitting down in that space is a nice little situation for Joe Flacco to get an easy reception downfield.
100%. And we'll see some of the pass blocking here. I mean, they obviously get a lot of help, Michael Carter, CJ Uzama, but it overall wasn't great in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Flacco was running for his life the whole time.
This play, you see Jermaine Johnson. He's the left edge defender here, and they have he works through the fullback Patrick Ricard's block, and then Mark Andrews comes over and he cleans up the run on the inside, which we talked about JJ's run defense and why he would be an immediate impact contributor. And obviously his sack was a really impressive rep, and he showed some of his speed, his motor, but you saw his run defense on display here, as he finishes and crashes down inside.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jermaine Johnson definitely showcasing some of that value early on.
So at this play, the Ravens got 2 deep safeties. They work the Jets on the bottom. They work a scissors concept with a post in a corner. And then Corey Davis up top runs that deep corner route. And again, this is where I think the pass protection, really threw Joe Flacco off in his mental clock, because it actually held up here, the blocking. But I mean, he does not see Corey Davis as we go through this here. I mean, he is wide open on up top there on that deep corner route and doesn't even look to see it here.
Yeah, you'd expect more from a veteran like Joe Flacco, but he might. Yeah, you're right. His clock just might have been off. He's probably thinking right now, this guy at left tackle is going to kill me. This is where he's probably right there. He's he has a lot of time. I mean, he could even go to the right a little bit and wait for Corey Davis to keep running to get even more space. And he just checks it down. I mean, that's the easy throw, all day long. He was getting beat up. I'm not going to put too much, pressure on him, because the guy was running and he's older now. So I understand why he was taking the easy check down. But at the end of the day, Robert Saleh did say he did miss a couple of throws and we need him to hit those. So I do agree with that sentiment. And when you have guys that open downfield, especially when you're Joe Flacco, you're a veteran, you've won big games before, there's no excuse. You know what I mean?
I mean, Corey Davis going over it, he was open a ton in this game and could have had well over 100 yards. I mean, he was missed a ton. So this one here, this was one of the times that the Jets 2 deep safety looks, which were exposed in this game. If we pause it here, you see they have Joyner and Whitehead in the deep middle, and the Ravens attacked, the weakness of any cover 2, cover 4 defense with deep middle post action. And you see it's more of like a crossing route, but it works against Jordan Whitehead's leverage. You see up top, right on the goal line there. And, with Mark Andrews stopping, right in front, Joyner has to bite down and respect him. And you see it's a gimme. I mean, the Ravens exposed the Jets' zone defenses, and in particular, like I said, the 2 deep looks really, a ton in this game. And we'll see it even on the next touchdown here.
Yeah, Devin Duvernay had a hell of a game.
And also the Jets pass rush, aside from Quinnen, a couple of plays from JFM and Jermaine Johnson, it did not do enough in this game. And that's why these zone coverages were also exposed. So with this one, Garrett Wilson's in the slot, and you see he's going across the screen here to, beats Marlon Humphrey. And again, Flacco kind of missed him. When Garrett had opportunities, I mean, he was open in this game.
He was open in this game. I saw him. And whenever he got the ball, man, he was electric too. Reminded me a little bit of Kadarius Toney, honestly.
Very quick, shifty. Yep.
Very quick and shifty. He's going to be really, really good once they integrate him more into the system. I don't really understand why he didn't play a lot.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are kind of wondering the same thing. Why not use our first round receiver, who is absolute monster, and we needed offensive support, and he's open against one of the best corners in football.
Absolutely. So once again here, you'll see the Jets 2 deep safeties kind of getting exposed. I mean, I know Jordan Whitehead got some blame. He's working on the bottom closer to DJ Reed. Again, they kind of have something underneath that stops, and then he's kind of in a bit of a tough position. And again, Joyner up top working next to Sauce there. I don't really understand, what he's seeing, what's going on, because the weakness and what they just exploited for that touchdown we saw was the deep middle, and you see it here with the post route. And I mean, this is just a gimme, honestly. And it really, it threw things off the Jets in such a big way.
Yeah. There's those deep passes, man.
the Ravens had answers for the Jets' zone defenses in this one, even on plays that maybe didn't connect. You see here.
Lamar, what the fuck are you doing, LaMarcus Joyner? What is he doing?
And he
You're
should
playing,
see Sauces right there. I mean, you see the routes in front of you,
Where is he backpedaling to? Where are you backpedaling to? There's nothing there. You have a corner who's 100 times faster than you right there. I mean, look at him. He's not even going toward the receiver. It's unbelievable. Yep. Ugh.
Yep, the Jets' two deep safeties definitely, didn't. Whitehead had a good game, but just when they were in these types of, coverage structures on the back end, it didn't really bode too well. And again, the Jets' pass rush just not making enough of an impact whatsoever, and didn't really, help the coverage whatsoever. This last play here, Corey Davis makes a nice grab over the middle. I thought overall he had a good game. The drop was frustrating, but I think you got to factor in the circumstances and the weather. Like I said, he was open a ton and could head over 100 yards, like we saw in that one play on the deep corner. But we'll see it from the end zone view. The pass block that Breece Hall had here really stood out. I mean, considering that was one of his concerns, and he was really a complete, safe prospect across the board. But, pass protection was something that people maybe said Breece had to work on and show some progress. But you see, we'll see from the other view here. I mean, he does a really good job. I want to say it's against Malik Harrison. He goes down for a chop block. And I mean, Breece as a pass blocker has definitely, impressed at this point. And you saw his speed, his vision, his cutting, as both a runner and receiver, and this one. And you'll be able to see it as we go through here.
There's a ambulance going by trying to pick up the entire Jets offensive line right now. So, and it's been sitting outside my apartment for 3 minutes, and I'm just like, please go away.
Just to show it one more time. I mean, you just want to see the willingness, the effort, and he times it up pretty well there.
It's effort, man. That's as much effort as I'd put in if I were him. I mean, let alone Breece Hall. I'm talking about Corey Davis. I mean, to take that throw in the air, to catch that, knowing you're about to get hit, and he sees him. He has his head turned already, looking, okay, I'm going to get hit right now. This is going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Corey, while that first drop was tough, I thought he actually had a good game and was open a lot more.
Yeah, this was a ballsy catch by Corey Davis. He needed it. He knew his team needed it. That's tough. That hurts. But yeah, Breece Hall came up and made a good block. That's very nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
Really encouraging. I mean, Max Mitchell as well. I think there's been a lot of buzz on him. I would say, I don't have a number grading system like PFF, but it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I think, there were many issues like in Tomlinson and George Fant in particular in this one. But I thought Mitchell, overall held up pretty well. And you just want to continue to really see his growth here, in what's a tough situation for him with the injuries to Mekhi Becton and Dwayne Brown. Just continue to progress and grow. And lastly, with Fant, I would say, coming off of the surgery and, really having no sort of stability all offseason, I think, he deserves some time to get back and, acclimate himself, once again, after he was getting reps at right tackle for a couple of weeks at left. And, the pass blocking has got to be better for this Jets offense. Obviously not having Zach Wilson in this game, the mobility and just being able to do things out of structure when, things break down, it certainly impacted the Jets, but the Jets overall beat themselves in this game. And, hopefully, they can find a way to win in Cleveland this weekend.
Hopefully they can, my friends. It's going to be an interesting game with Joe Flacco under center once again, but hopefully the defense can step up and make some plays and get them some good field position. The running game can get going. The offensive line definitely need time to gel, but hopefully they make some progress as well. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on the plays that we showed below, what your thoughts are on this team so far, weaknesses, strengths. I'm always happy to hear your perspectives on the YouTube comments, so we appreciate that as always. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Jets episode.